just jumping right in. Who are you guys, and what is it that you do for work?
I'll let you start, Dionsyi.
Who am I? That's such an existential question. I don't know where to begin. Who is anyone really? I don't know. We're just two guys that do have actually a lot of history in the wine industry. We didn't come to this, by just falling into it. But two guys that love wine and can't imagine doing anything else with their lives. We both done other things and don't want to go back to those other things. So, I met Todd, was it 7 years ago now, Todd, when he had just started at DNS Wines. I think he was a year into it. And
just a few months, in fact.
Just a few months, yeah. There you go. And he was on a market visit to New York to sell some wine, but also to look for someone to start up the New York market for DNS. And it was serendipity. It was just one of those things. We met by coincidence. He had a wine bag. I had a wine bag. I tasted his wines and I was like, wow, Peroni no. So who wasn't going to be like, wow. At the time, I don't think DNS had very much other wine other than Peroni no.
Not a lot.
And then I have no idea what I had in my bag. How do you might remember? Idea? What was it?
You had, the main thing that I remember is you had a 1999 Economo Citia.
Oh, well, there you go. So two of the heavy hitters of the portfolio as it still is constituted. So, you taste out of each other's bags and then you're pretty much married at that point, So, insert joke. So we hit it off, and Todd was kind enough to make me an offer, and I became part of DNS shortly thereafter, and it's been great ever since. So we import wine from predominantly France. Where I think the deepest roots of our DNA as a company is fine wine, predominantly from the best appellations in France, be it Burgundy or Champagne or the Rhone. And then in addition to that, a kind of more modern twist of being pretty involved in esoteric wines, biodynamic, natural wines, be they from Greece or Italy, or now we're moving into Austria. But irrespective of whatever we're importing and from whatever country, it's a European enterprise. And the wines typically are in a sort of old world vein. What characterizes our portfolio, and I've been told this by many people in the industry, like I know when I see a DNS back label, I pretty much know what I'm going to get, and that's refinement in the wine, serious wine, delicious wine. And it doesn't really matter which part of Europe it's coming from. Great acidity, and brightness, and lift, and elegance, and we take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, I think it's well stated what Dionsyi just said. I think one of the hallmarks that we always try to look for with any wine we work with, any producer we work with, is that wherever it may be, whether it's an appellation in France, one of the classic appellations like you mentioned, be it Burgundy or Champagne or Rhone Valley, or it's something more off the beaten path, like a new producer that we're about to launch from the island of Crete that Dionsyi's been in talks with for quite some time. Whatever it is that the wine really speaks of the place that it's from, and I think that's kind of at the top of our list. We're not, we're not checking boxes off like, does it meet X, Y, and Z? Are they? We're not dogmatic in that sense, I guess, but we just want the wine to really represent where it's from and taste like where it's from. And I think that's what both of us love to drink, and that's what we try to bring to the market is those kind of wines that are really an expression of their place. So I think what we find is when you start with that is kind of your overriding ethos, everything else kind of falls into place. So we didn't set out to say we're going to be an organic only or biodynamic or whatever importer. But I think usually when you what I've found anyway is when you seek out those wines that really do a great job at, like I said, expressing that place where they're from, you tend to find that the majority of the time those wines are minimal intervention, not a lot less sort of man-made and manipulation going on, be it in the vineyards or in the cellar. And so anyway, that's kind of what we strive for. That's all I got. Why
did you start the company? That's an easy question.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, that's so that to give you the short answer, I guess I would say, for me personally, anyway, I can't, obviously DNS came on board shortly after we started the company, but for me personally, I'd always wanted to do my own thing from the time I was a kid, as far back as really I can remember, at least, when I became old enough to start thinking about what do I want to do with my life. I always thought I wanted to do my own thing. At some point, I wanted to have my own business, and of course, I didn't have any idea what that business was going to be when I was young, and the idea changed over time. At one point, I thought I was going to do something entirely different. As Dionsyi said, we've done other things for work in our lives, but I always wanted to kind of do my own thing. So for me, I reached a point, I guess, where I'd had a number of years of experience in the wine industry and specifically on the import side, and I felt, and through a series of events, it just life just has a way of kind of I don't know, sort of opening doors for you. What the doors open at a certain time. I mean, timing is everything in life, as people say, and the timing was right, I felt like, and multiple things kind of came together, and it just felt like, okay, if I'm going to do this, now's the time. So that was that really started unfolding in the year 2013, and by August, I guess, or September 1st, I forget the exact date, August 30th or September 1st, whatever it was, I found myself on a plane headed over to France to start talking to some people about this idea, and we were going to start this new company, and hoped that we could pull it off. So timing is everything in life, and always wanted to do my own thing, and the opportunity presented itself. So here we are.
Do you have either one of you have a favorite part in this crazy process?
I know what I don't like.
Yeah.
sitting behind spreadsheets. But who does like that? I mean, you kind of get in the wine industry to not have to be a bean counter. It's a necessary part of the job when you're running your own company. It's the least sexy part of the entrepreneurial experience, for sure. I think what I love about this company and this business is that it constantly changes. I mean, on any given day, I might be behind that spreadsheet, and that's okay if it's not, every day the same thing. But I could equally be, visiting suppliers in France or Greece. I could be out on the streets of New York selling wine. I could be traveling to a market to help sell wine to a secondary market. And so it just kind of keeps my days fresh and interesting, and you don't fall into the doldrums of the same old.
Yeah, I would echo that. I'd say, my favorite parts are what Dionsyi just said. I mean, I personally love the travel. I've always enjoyed traveling. I spent 10 years prior to starting DNS. I spent almost 10 years as a national salesperson for an importer and wholesaler. So I was constantly flying around on the airplanes, and I still do that. And in the 7 years or so that we've started DNS, I still do that. In fact, I probably travel, in some ways I travel more because I'm going back and forth to Europe more now, 2020 notwithstanding. But you know, a lot of people, so for me, it's what, 16, 17 years almost of this nonstop travel. And I meet so many people that have to travel for their job, and after a few years of it, they get sick of it and they complain. And I mean, I still enjoy it. I still love, you know, traveling to New York and getting to see everybody and meet with people and talk about the wines that we're so passionate about. I love getting over to Europe and meeting with our suppliers, and that part of it is it's definitely my favorite part. It's the travel and the sharing of wine and a shared passion. And yeah, I agree with Deanie. Sitting behind spreadsheets all the time is the least favorite part, but a necessary evil when you're going to do your own thing. So,
yeah, you know about that, Liz, right?
You guys know I I hide a deep love for a spreadsheet. I think about them at night, and I actually do respect people that love a spreadsheet, because I think it's a different kind of brain than I have, and I'm glad that those brains are in the world.
They exist. Yeah, right.
Help support the rest of us limp along. So shifting gears just a little bit, you know, obviously it's been a really intense year with everything that's going on, and so it has, you know, I know everybody's you guys are in different places in the world, so your area might be a little bit more opened up. California is still pretty, you know, in some areas pretty locked down. Did you learn anything, hopefully in a positive way, from the past, you know, 6 months? Has there anything that has stood out for you on a personal or professional level?
I think, well, New York has been, I think, shut down the most out of any market, and that's my direct market. So I think we've borne the brunt of it here. And our other direct markets, being California and Illinois, they're states that have taken this seriously and have done the right thing and have shut down, even though it's painful. At the end of the day, lives are more important. And we're in a business that is heavily affected by this, but luckily there are other, you know, venues to sell wine that allows you to, if not flourish, at least kind of keep the lights on, right? So my takeaway this year is that I feel like, because we're such a heavily on-premise importer distributor, that, you know, our portfolio, for whatever reason, was just kind of built, both our likes and dislikes, the price points, it just naturally gravitates a little bit more to on-premise. And I think maybe to our detriment, obviously to our detriment this year, but the greater point in all of this is that it's taught me personally maybe to have a healthier respect for off-premise. And I think in this industry, we get caught up too much in thinking, you know, off-premise being like the redheaded stepchild or whatever, and, you know, you'll just move out some wine, and people tend to give it short thrift, and that's, I think, across the industry, unless you're an importer who's definitely shooting for lower price points and is more volumetric based. But for fine wine importers, I think that's a relatively fair statement. And it's given me a healthier respect for balance within the entire industry, and what you really need to pay attention to and put your energy into. And I think that, well, obviously we've had to reorient, because otherwise you would be running into a lot of problems. But I don't think that reorientation is simply for the moment. Due to these stresses. I think for me personally, and I would hope for the company, and I would stress it to the company, to DNS, to everyone in DNS, that this is a lesson well learned, and we need to look for that balance moving forward.
I would say I think Dionsyi hit on some really important points, and that are you know, directly related to the business, and I would say to offer another perspective outside of, you know, on-premise, off-premise mix, how it's impacted numbers, et cetera, all that. I think one of the big takeaways for me that I'm pretty, I guess I would say I'm proud of. I mean, I think it speaks to, what we've tried to do here and the way we've built this company. We haven't been completely mercenary. Over the years, we really tried to stick to, kind of guiding principles. We talked earlier about, what we look for in wines and in producers and all of that in terms of the juice. But a big component of that is also in the people. And a lot of this, as we've built this company from, when we started out, in the first couple of months with, 3 brands to whatever we're up to now. I don't even know, to be honest. At DNS, I would say it's got to be over 40, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So anyway, the point is, as we've grown in the last 7 years from that 3 to 40 plus, we've said no a lot. As many times, or actually more times than we've said yes, when it comes to bringing something on and incorporating into the book. And like I said, a big component of that is the people. And one of the things that's really stood out for me, and this, by the way, this doesn't just go for the suppliers, the wineries that we work with, but also salespeople, the people that work for us and with us on our team, and that we're partnered with. Like Springboard, obviously is a huge one. We've been trying to be really careful about the people that we work with, and there's got to be that feeling, that connection. And I would say in out of the 40 plus suppliers that we work with now, we've really only had a couple that we felt like, we just don't jive with. We don't, we're not on the same wavelength, and neither one of those two are in our book anymore. And that's pretty much about it. I mean, and I think this whole experience with the COVID has really kind of shown a spotlight on those relationships, the importance of those. And it's also kind of brought out just how, I guess, how important that is, but how strong a lot of our partnerships are. Everybody's kind of, with the exception of one jerk, I think who's no longer in the book, everybody's been really great about, hey, what can we do to help? How can we get through this together? I want to do whatever I can to try to help you guys, and we try to do the same thing. And it's kind of everybody coming together, saying, let's get through this together. We're all on the same team, and that's been really, really cool to see and really gratifying. Because Lord knows I've for many years in this business, and I bet the same goes for you, Liz. You've seen your fair share of suppliers, or salespeople or customers or whatever, people in the industry that you work with and depend on and rely on, that, just seem to be, they're never happy. They're never satisfied. All they want to do is complain and tell you that you're not doing a good job. And so it's been really great to get that sense of sort of community and togetherness that we've from the whole team. Anyway, I don't know if I'm making any sense.
I'll just remind you about the name of this series, which is "Good People Make Better Wine."
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And I've always said maybe that's not true, but if it isn't true, I don't care. It's how good it is.
Yeah, you're going to sell it that way, one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of what I choose to believe, because it works.
Yeah, exactly.
So final questions here. So first is a quick one, or actually they're both pretty quick. Have you had a soundtrack during quarantine, like stuff you've listened to more than others? I'm collecting, I'm going to put a playlist together for people.
What do you got, D?
Oh, I'm just so embarrassed by it.
So we're talking Dionsyi. This is the windows go up and so does the volume.
Yeah. I am not a big fan of the musical, the genre. Yet I had a father-daughter kind of date night in our TV room. We do that. I do that with my daughter Lulu every now and again. And man, yeah, we watched Mamma Mia.
Oh, cool.
And so it's been ABBA all the time.
Nice.
In the house, as sung by the cast of Mamma Mia. So a lot of Dancing Queen, a lot of Waterloo, a lot of that stuff. So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
well, that'll bring you up. I mean, come on. That'll bring you up.
Yeah, and I'll confess it's a minor secret. I do kind of enjoy the music.
Hey, ABBA is one of those guilty pleasures that no one admits to liking, but pretty much everybody does. And if you press play on Dancing Queen, everybody in the room is going to know the words. And sing along.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Tom?
Yeah.
So
As sung by Meryl Streep.
well, I don't know. For me, it's kind of been all over the place. It's not been like one thing. So I play guitar, and one of the things, without me being able to travel for these last few months, just been sitting here at home. I'm sitting at my desk right now, and this is sitting right next to me. Right next to my desk. So I've been playing guitar a lot. So I've actually been learning a lot of new songs. So it's kind of been everything from like Jackson Brown, and I've learned some old Dylan songs. I've been working on a couple of pieces from a guy named Bruce Coburn, that I don't know, you may or may not know who he is, but great guitarist. I don't know. So it's been a lot of stuff like that, but it's been more geared around, songs that I want to learn how to play. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
You work on Dancing Queen for me?
I know how to play Dancing Queen, actually.
Do you really? Wow, that's why we're partners.
Yeah, there you go. We checked that box. Now I know the answer.
I would play you a couple of bars right now, but my guitar is actually tuned to an open C right now because of a song that I'm learning, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah, no.
See, everyone is just seeing the definition of synergy right there. Witness the definition.
Final question. What's your drink?
Ooh.
Desert island, you're like, I gotta take one drink with me. What's the drink?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So do you mean like one category?
Well, I mean, I guess in my mind I was thinking
like
cocktail,
one specific
but maybe you're
bottle.
not a cocktail drinker. I don't know,
Yeah. No, it wouldn't be a cocktail for sure. It'd be wine for me. But I mean, if you're looking for more specific, then I don't know. It's tough to me to say. I could say Burgundy because I do love Burgundy. But then I could also never get tired of champagne. I don't know. But if it's
okay, fair enough.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a cocktail for me either. I enjoy a good cocktail, but it's never my go-to. I don't know, desert island, I got to go with Santorini. Anything from Hatzidakis all day.
All right.
There you go.
I mean, eventually the acidity and the Assyrtiko will, bore a hole into my esophagus and I'll die, but it'll be a good way to go.
I was about to say you would die happy, so what else is there?
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate it.
All right.
It's nice to see both of your faces, virtual or otherwise. So thank you, and hopefully we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Liz.
So in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. Okay. Bye.